Salutations and welcome to the farm. You know, way back when, a couple of years ago, I did this really neat video and it was about think. Think before you speak. Is what you're going to say, is it thoughtful? Is it helpful? Is it intelligent? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And I've had a couple of instances lately where somebody didn't think before they spoke or typed as a comment. And these are things that I really struggle with. I really struggle with unkind or things that I take personally. Maybe they didn't mean it, but I take them to heart and I let them derail me. And that's on me. That's on me 100%. I'm really working on not allowing things that people say to derail me from my goals. And I had something happen a week ago and it stung. It hurt. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to ruminate on this a while because that's who I am. I have a hard time just letting it roll off like water on a duck's back. I will make fun of it. I will poke fun at it. I will poke fun at myself. I will blah, blah, blah it until finally I get it out of my system. But this thing that happened last week, it almost set me back. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to ruminate on it and I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not going to let it set me back. And let me give you a couple examples of things that really stick with me. And you'll kind of see where I'm going and how I've had this breakthrough and I'm not going to let this happen anymore. So several years ago, over 25 years ago, I had lost a lot of weight and I was living in a community where, you know, before I was out in the boondocks and didn't get to do fun things growing up and everything. And I had this opportunity to be in a pageant after having 4 babies. I got myself in shape and I was going to be in a pageant. And I was so excited. It was so much fun and so new to me. And of course, everybody wants to win, but I didn't really plan on winning. But I wanted to have the great experience. And one day, all of us women got on a bus and we drove out to an outlet mall and we all got to buy our beautiful dresses for the evening gown competition. I found a beautiful dress. It was red with glass beads and beautiful sequins. It was just a beautiful red dress. If I can find a picture, I'll pop it up here. Oh, I loved that dress. And right before the competition, one of the other competitors said to me, you know, you really shouldn't wear a backless dress. You shouldn't do that. And you know, every bit of confidence that I felt in wearing that dress just oozed out of me out the bottom of my feet. And I felt entirely defeated. Now, whether they meant to do that, I don't know. Maybe it was said because she felt that maybe she was helping me. I don't know, but all I know is all I thought about was every time I turn around in that dress, are the judges going to say, oh Lord, that girl should not be wearing a dress that shows off her back. It wasn't terrible. I mean, I was a size 6 for Pete's sakes. I wasn't overweight. Maybe my back wasn't as toned as it could have been, but I thought I looked nice in the dress. But that was an overweighing burden on me. Like, oh, I shouldn't wear this dress. And that stuck with me for a long, long time. Later on, I competed again, and I actually was able to represent my community and go out and be involved with the Chamber of Commerce and all of these lovely things. And, you know, a lot of the people in the community knew that I had worked so hard to lose weight and win this competition and represent my community with pride. And I remember one time I was at an event and a gentleman came up to me and he had a plate of cookies. And he said, I got you a cookie. And I said, well, thank you. And he goes, but just one. I said, excuse me? He goes, just one. We don't want you getting fat again. And I couldn't believe somebody would say that to me. I mean, come up and offer me a cookie and then excuse yourself. But don't berate me in front of everybody. That really hurt. And I know that they didn't mean to because they were really one of my strongest, you know, cheerleaders in the community. But why say that? And they were in the counseling, they were a counselor. And that's what they said to me. So, you know, those couple of things, I just feel so defeated. And what did I do? I went and ate more cookies because I felt so defeated. I don't know why I do that to myself. About a year and a half ago, I was on my path to getting healthy again, and I had worked really hard. I was logging hundreds of miles on walks around the lakes and all over the place. I was working every day at getting healthier. And there was this really great event for the fall festival, and I was so happy that I was going to get to see my grandchildren there, and I was looking forward to having a family photo taken. And I wore this blue denim dress, and I had worked really hard. I was so happy to wear this blue denim dress and sit on a hay bale and, you know, cross at the ankles and have my grandbabies and my husband with me and take this picture. And I waited for those pictures to come in. I was so excited. And the pictures came in, and I looked like I was wearing a circus tent. Hint of the day, don't sit for pictures in a tent. Switch that. Don't sit for a picture in a dress that flows like a tent, because you will look like the fat lady sitting in a tent. That's exactly how I felt. And I was being very honest about my weight loss journey at that time. And I had posted those pictures, even though I didn't want to. I posted them on social media because I was so happy to be with my grandkids. And I had said in this post that, you know, I've seen all kinds of, you know, little nuggets of wisdom that say, take the pictures. Even if you're overweight, even if you're not looking and feeling your best, you take the pictures. Because what if you don't take pictures with your family just because you don't think you're worthy? And your grandchildren and your children are going to look back and say, Mom's not in any of the pictures. So I thought, I'm happy that I'm in the picture. I'm happy that with my grandchildren. I'm just so defeated that I look so awful in that dress. And I was going to burn that dress. That dress was no longer going to be in my wardrobe. Burn it. And, you know, I wasn't looking for people to cheerlead me on or boost my ego or anything like that. I was looking for people to say, good for you, you did that. And it's true. You know, I try to be in pictures for my kids and my grandkids, even though I'm not looking my best, because it's important to them. They're not, if I die, they're not going to say, oh, grandma was really fat. They're going to say, I'm so glad grandma showed up for that day for the fall festival. And so I shared the pictures. And even though I had shared the little bit of disappointment, I was victorious in that I shared the pictures. And I had someone comment that said, as soon as you stop being so fake and phony with yourself, your life will be a lot happier. And I thought, what does that mean? How am I being fake and phony? I'm being honest. I'm being honest, saying, I thought this would go differently, but it didn't. But I'm still sharing the pictures with my grandbabies, and I'm not going to give in to my ego. I'm going to make sure my grandbabies have good pictures, and I'm sharing them. How am I being fake and phony? And that cut deep, because I really didn't expect that. And do you know what I did? I got off track. I stopped going for my walks. I started eating the cookies and the ice cream again, because I was like, screw it. I mean, if people are going to call me phony, if people are going to do this to me and stab me in the back here and there, what am I doing this for? I let them win. So now I'm back on track again. And I'm getting control of my diabetes. I'm exercising every day, and I'm doing everything I can to become a healthier, stronger individual. And not just physically, but as I'm going through this journey, I'm really working on the mental aspect as well. But again, this is where it comes back to think before you speak. And I'm going to share with you my most recent stab that I'm working really hard to make sure that it does not derail me. So a week ago, I had just got done working out at the gym. I've been going every day for walking and strength training, core training, weight training. I've been going every day. I'm seeing great results. I had switched into a dress because my brother and I were going to go to lunch, and we stopped off at the little thrift store that's local. And I thought, you know, I'm just going to look for some leggings to work out in, maybe some shirts that wick away moisture, so I will have a few options for going to the club, the health club. So I found a couple of leggings in the exercise section, and I thought, you know, I'm going to go over to where the pajamas are, because sometimes leggings end up over in the pajama section. And I'm standing in the pajama section, and I'm, you know, you push the hangers as you're looking, and I'm in the extra large. It goes, you know, 1X, 2X, and beyond. I'm in the 1X, 2X section, and I'm looking for different leggings. And I feel a tap on my shoulder, just the faintest little tap. And I thought I was in somebody's way, so I turned around, and there's this little old lady. She must be in her 80s, tiny little thing. And she's looking up at me, and she said, "Excuse me." And I smiled, and I said, "Yes." And she goes, "I just wanted to let you know that we have clothing for really, really big women in the next aisle." And it was like somebody punched me in the gut. Yes, I'm overweight. I admit it. Go to the doctor, they're going to put me as morbidly obese. I get it. But who walks up to somebody unsolicited and says, "I just wanted to let you know that the clothing for the really, really fat women is on the next aisle"? Now, I could have said all kinds of horrible things back to her. I was totally taken aback. I'll admit I really didn't know what to say. And so I just smiled and I said, "Thank you." You know, she doesn't know if I'm shopping for myself. She doesn't know if I'm shopping for my daughter. She doesn't know who I'm shopping for. I didn't go up to her and ask her, "Excuse me, do you have any clothing that would fit me or my mother who's bigger than me?" Nothing like that. She just wanted to let me know that clothing for the really, really fat people was on the next aisle. But I said, you know, like I said, I just looked at her and I said, "Thank you." And I left it at that. But that's the kind of thing that can derail me. But I didn't let it derail me. You know, I had my few selections, and my brother grabbed a couple of books. He loves to buy books when we go to the thrift store. And I'm standing in line to pay for my items. And that little old lady walked up to me, and she just puts her hand on my shoulder and she says, "Oh, it must be so hard for you to be standing here in line. Don't worry. You're next. I know this is hard." And I'm like, what is going on? I looked at my brother who was at the door. He'd already paid for his books. And as we were walking out, I was like, am I missing something? Am I missing something? Do I look like I'm on death's door and ready to fall down? I'm not, you know, sucking on oxygen or puffing on my inhaler. I'm not beet red and exhausted and dripping in sweat. I was perfectly fine holding my 3 items of clothing to check out. But for some reason, she thinks I was just struggling to stand, obviously because I'm just so fat. And we got a good chuckle out of it. He said, "Let it go. She was just trying to help." And I get that she's just trying to help. I get it. But wow, somebody didn't think before they speak. And I'm going to be the first one to admit, I say it myself. I've been guilty of saying things like that to people before. I'm making more of a conscious effort for 2 things. One is I really need to think before I speak, make sure I don't unintentionally hurt somebody else like that. It happens. I know I've done it. When I recognize it, I apologize. And the second thing is to not let things like that derail me. I could have very easily taken to what she said to heart and fall back into my own patterns, the old patterns. And I could have said, "Okay, brother, where are we going for lunch?" Because we have lunch every Friday. And we usually go to a pizza place and I get the salad bar. I don't have anything else but a good, healthy salad. And I could have easily gone and said, "Give me the full frickin' buffet." Because if that's how people see me and if that's how people are going to treat me, I might as well live up to their expectations. And I undermine my own progress by doing that. But I didn't do that this time. I didn't. I laughed about it. I'm sharing the story to kind of like, it's cathartic. And again, I get that she was just trying to help. I forgive her. I will be avoiding her next time I go to the thrift store. But I went to go work out the next day. And all next week, I went every day to the gym. And a little, you know, you got the little devil and the little angel. Little devil's like, you're fat. What are you doing? Little angel's like, don't give in. Don't give in. Every workout counts. You've got this. And you just have to start becoming that duck that lets it roll off. But you have to lead by example and think before you speak. Is it thoughtful? Is it helpful? Is it intelligent? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So that's my challenge for you today as I learn to embrace this philosophy of thinking before I speak. I'm going to do better, and I hope learning about this will inspire you to do, at least think. I was going to say do better yourself, but here I am assuming that you don't think before you speak. So see how I just did that. If you've had similar stories like this, share with me down below that, yeah, I get it. You don't have to tell me the story, but say, you know what? I get it. I've had it happen to me. I know I've done it myself. And just let me know if this little philosophy of think is something that you have already implemented into your life or something that you're going to strive to do. It's something that I'm going to be working on. And having said that, I'm going to put on my new workout clothes and I'm going to go to the gym and work out. So maybe next time she sees me, there'll just be a little bit less to look at and she'll think I'm in the right. What do I care what she thinks? See? Stop derailing yourself. I don't care what she thinks. I know I'm working hard. Okay, friends, that's it for now. Thank you so much for showing up today and spending a little time with me. As I always close out my videos, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. And I'll see you next time. Make sure you think. Bye-bye.